Welcome back to the SHTICK. I have with me Fiona Edelstein. She's a yoga smith. What's
Hi.
a yoga smith?
A yoga smith is a girl who used to be called Goldsmith before I got married, who started doing yoga and teaching yoga, and then I started drawing from yoga, qigong and all sorts of different schools, and I decided I was a yoga smith because I worked with yoga.
And what are the health benefits of yoga?
Probably the main one is flexibility, strength, balance and dealing with stress.
People talk about yoga, but I don't think they really understand the full extent of it. Where did you start? How did it get you going?
I used to be a bit of a gym junkie, and I ended up in Los Angeles without a green card, so I would go to the YMCA, and one day I discovered the yoga studio. I went to one class that was way too hard for me, and by the end of that class I felt fantastic and relaxed in a way I'd never felt before. So it was kind of more than a workout, it had an emotional connection to it. And I became addicted. I loved it. I started doing it every day. I have for the last 20 years.
And did you study it anywhere?
Yeah, I worked at I worked and then trained at a school called Yoga Works in Los Angeles, California. It was their first school. They're now all over the world. It was an extraordinary school with some of the top teachers in the world today, all working there at the time. So I was very lucky.
And you have all kinds of methods that you use, and you also have all kinds of people that you train. Tell me about the different kinds of people that you have.
God, I work with grade 1, 2 and 3 I've worked with. I work with people with Parkinson's and people with certain disabilities. I work with pregnant women. I work with housewives at 9:15. I have full classes of women that drop their kids off and then they come and deal with the stress. I work corporately. All sorts of people, all sorts of different shapes and sizes, but I specialise in beginners. I really like the beginner body, the people that found it difficult, that aren't necessarily as coordinated, or I was very tight, so I feel I'm teaching me, the person I used to be.
So it's really all about stretching and being more flexible in the core.
It's about feeling your whole body. It's about learning how to use that body and then taking that body and expanding it and letting go. Not unlike you see your dogs and cats and they'd never dream of getting up without having a full stretch before they take off and do things. Well, yoga is like that. It's just that we don't do it enough, so we have to make a class for ourselves to make sure we do it.
And you do yoga every day yourself?
I teach every day.
You teach every day, so you actually
every day.
participate in the class yourself?
I have very visual students, so I find that if I stop, a lot of them stop. So I got to do it.
So you actually take the class at the front and show them, because they're beginners essentially.
Yeah, and you have to, as a teacher, you have to teach on different levels. Some people are more audio, so you have to describe it in a way that they can understand, and for other people, every so often they need to be touched, and others want to monkey see, follow you. So for all the different people, you have to find these different ways of communicating to them and take responsibility. If they don't get it, you're not teaching them right.
So it has physical benefits as well as emotional and mental?
Well, yes. What happens is when you release all the tension from the body, you feel better, you feel calmer. And when you change your breathing, because in yoga we breathe slow and deep and through the nose, you again feel calmer. And then what happens is the mind settles. And when the mind is settled and you feel like you're on a holiday, that's a really good place to start to train the mind a little bit, to get out of thinking mode and a little bit more into experiential mode, in being in the moment.
And that's what mindfulness is?
Mindfulness means, really, it means presence. So it means that while I am talking to you, I am experiencing myself. So I can be attached to my breathing, feeling my body and experiencing you, as distinct from being up in my head. So if I was in my thinking process, I would be in the past all the time or the future all the time. And neither of those places are here with you. So mindfulness is a way, in action or in meditation, of being present. And it just means attaching yourself to something physical and concrete.
I love the word centeredness.
It is a good word, isn't it?
Isn't it? I just love that, because that gives you a balance, because you're there and you're integrated with yourself and your surroundings. And I think that's one of the great benefits of yoga, don't you think?
Absolutely. Well, what I notice is when people get stressed, energy goes up. Okay? If people get angry, energy goes up. You get indigestion, you get a headache, everything comes up. You're not feeling your feet, you're not in your body. So when you want to calm down, you've got to take yourself down. And you mentally, feel your feet, feel your body. You can do it sitting.
Yeah.
But it's a very effective way to take people into action, to teach them these things.
And you were telling me before about in India people were more on the floor, and that's why they're more flexible. Did you study Moshe Feldenkrais?
I did a little bit. I did a personal study. I was given a book at one stage called Awareness Through Movement, which is one of his books.
That's right.
And what I started to do was spend a lot of time on the floor teaching myself, and then I started experimenting with my classes. And so I don't teach in a traditional Feldenkrais manner because I learnt from a book, but I integrated it with what I do, and it still works. So it's about releasing the body and letting go of uncomfortable habits and finding perfect, comfortable, strong alignment. And then you walked around in the world with it.
And what about your peace workshops?
My peace workshops are my favourite thing in the world. I designed workshops for people who don't necessarily have any background in yoga at all, and I do it in 4 parts. So the first part is about stress and sleep, and I teach them techniques to deal with stress better and to sleep better. Second part is about how to release the tension from the body, everywhere in the body, the neck, the shoulders, their own particular thing, and teaching them what posture looks like and feels like. The third part is breath and meditation, and I don't expect them to do lotus and sit there and not think. I give them a whole lot of different forms of meditation, hoping that they'll walk away with something that feels good. And the fourth part is called Happy for Absolutely No Reason. So it's yoga and attitude.
That's my life.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm so happy, but it's really great to get that feeling. And I'm not good in the mornings, but as the day goes on, I always feel happier and happier as I go along. And I think yoga is one of those things that I think everybody should do. It's so important to realise the benefits of it for every part, for the whole. I like that other term, whole person.
Absolutely. But people get put off because they think I'm not flexible enough, I'm not coordinated enough, I'm not relaxed enough. But the truth is there's somewhere for everyone to start, and there's a type of yoga for everyone. So you don't have to do full lotus or have your foot behind your head or be able to do handstand or headstand. Ultimately, it's about releasing and aligning the body. And it's about learning to breathe and learning to relax. And there's somewhere for anyone to start.
Well, Flavors of Yoga is the name of your workshop, is it?
It's my studio's Flavors of Yoga, yeah.
And I've been there. It's a beautiful place, and the website's coming up now. And it's been such a pleasure to have you on the SHTICK, Fiona.
Thank you so much for having me, Henry.
Great. And we'll be back after the break.